welcome to the Wealth and Business Podcast. On today's episode, I thought I'd bring in someone very unusual, something that I don't really talk about most times on this episode because I talk about property a lot, but I don't really talk about currency trading, or I don't talk about Bitcoins. I don't talk about how people are killing it and making so much money doing this particular strategy in their own wealth strategies. But the reason why I decided to bring this individual is we had a very massive conversation, and he said, I've been doing so really well, making good money from crypto. I want to buy real estate. I want to own assets, because this is the only way people really build wealth. This is the only way you can actually keep the money that you make rather than spending and spoiling those money. So it's going to be a really, really interesting conversation. We're going to dig into his background. We're going to talk about who he is, how he started, what made him choose his own wealth creation strategy. So without further ado, I want to welcome my brother, my friend. I call him Balo, but he doesn't like that. He likes to be called Mr. Premium Bells.
Let's get it.
Welcome, my brother.
Appreciate it, bro.
Good to have you on the show, man.
It's good to be here, man. Appreciate you bringing me here.
Good. So, Bells, you have been in the wealth creation strategy through cryptocurrency trades, and you've been doing amazingly, really, really well.
Yeah,
so
through
how
crypto.
did your journey start?
So now it's crypto, but I started through Forex trading like about 4 years ago. So I didn't have any experience in trading, but there was a big buzz around trading, and I wanted to kind of, find out what it was about, people making a lot of money. So I found a company that were teaching people how to trade, that were giving people like mentorship. So that's how I started my journey. I started learning from mentors that had the results in a trading game. And after 2 years of trading Forex, I started diversifying a bit into the crypto space. And in the last year, I've like fully gone mainly into crypto now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Such a very interesting way for you to kind of kick off the show.
Yeah.
I'm really looking for the wisdom. So on this podcast, we talk about wealth creation, we talk about success, we talk about mindset a lot.
Yeah.
And especially digging into people's foundation, how did it all begin for them? So I want to really get into knowing you, and I really want to get the audience to kind of get to know you.
Yep.
So how did you begin to wanting to become an entrepreneur? Why not 9 to 5? Why did you get a job?
Well, growing up, I wanted to be a footballer, like most
tell.
kids. Yeah, so that was my main thing. So I've always played football. Growing up, and one of the reasons why I wanted to become a footballer was the financial aspect. Obviously, I enjoyed football, but the financial aspect, to be able to provide for my family. So when I hit about 20 years old, 19, I got a scholarship to go play in America. So for me, it was like that was make or break. After a year, things didn't really work out, so I came back to the UK, and I was like, okay, cool, I need to start making money. And that was when I landed my first job in recruitment. That was my first full-time job. And I just knew from there that a 9 to 5 wasn't for me. I just knew, I was good at the job, but I just never fit in that office environment, that 9 to 5 environment. I always liked freedom. So from there, I knew this was like, so I always knew that the 9 to 5 wasn't for me, so.
And that got you started?
Yeah, that got me started in entrepreneurship. I started network marketing 8 years ago, and I was selling like gas, electricity, telephone contracts. So it was difficult. I was hardly making any money, but I was pushing, and that's when I really that was my foundation to entrepreneurship. Even though I didn't make hardly any money, I learned like a hell of a lot about the mindset of an entrepreneur.
Wow. So what was the breaking point for you where you literally said, you know what, I'm just gonna go all in, not looking back. I love the lifestyle, I love my freedom.
Yeah.
Like you said, you didn't really enjoy, the work environment.
Yeah.
So at what point did you really just say, you know what, regardless of whatever's happened, 9 to 5 is not working for you. You got started on entrepreneurship now, 8 years in network marketing, and what was that biggest, breaking point?
That's a good question. I think I've had 2 major breaking points in my career so far. My first 3 years in entrepreneurship, I was doing it part-time. So I was still working a job, and I was barely scraping maybe £300 to £400 extra per month from entrepreneurship. So my first breaking point came when I first went full-time as an entrepreneur. So this was 4 years ago. So when I got introduced to the trading space, trading Forex, through an affiliate network marketing program, I was able to make the same amount that I was making in my job. And so I had a decision, should I, cut all ties and go all in? And it's obviously more risky because entrepreneurship is not guaranteed income.
Yeah.
Or do I stick to the comfort of having that steady income coming from a job? So that decision was in 2018. I left my job, so I haven't worked full time since, and I went full throttle into entrepreneurship. So I was trading, and I was also networking to help other people learn how to trade as well.
Wow.
So that was my major breakthrough into entrepreneurship, because I was finally designing my whole day schedule. I was completely full time, so it's very different from working in a job.
The journey of entrepreneurship is never easy because, especially when you're getting started, it's every day.
Yeah.
It's basically there's no days off.
Yeah.
Right, if you're getting started, especially when you're starting from where, for example, you haven't gone to win an apprenticeship program, by the way, sorry. Or you haven't actually had a soft landing where you have to literally start, probably learn the job, right?
Yeah.
Learn on the business, make a lot of mistakes, go bankrupt. And there's something I heard from, I think Grant has said this over and over again. In order to be actually successful in business, you have to go bankrupt many times to actually win.
Boy, I've experienced being broke. I know how it feels, like trying to build a business and not having no money, not having money to travel, sometimes no money to eat. So I think my first 3 years in entrepreneurship, I experienced that because I was working a job, but I didn't always have a job. I got fired maybe 5 times in that 3-year span. Because every job I went to, they knew I wasn't focused. They could tell that this guy doesn't want to be here, because I had entrepreneurship on my mind. That was my dreams. So I think I got fired from 5 jobs in those 3 years, my first 3 years in entrepreneurship. So there was periods where I went months without a job, just as an entrepreneur. And those times are difficult, man. Trying to build a business with no income. But I learned a hell of a lot about myself. I learned that no matter what, you can strip everything from me, take everything away, I'm gonna get it back. So I learned how to hustle. That's what I first learned. Yeah.
Bringing me to that word you just said now, hustle.
Yeah.
Right? In England, it's a word that people don't really, they have kind of 2 perspectives to the word hustle.
Yeah.
They either take it the wrong way or the right way. But in America, hustle is literally grafting.
Yeah, it's grinding.
It's it means working your butts off. That's what in America, and it's very common. I remember once upon a time I used the word I'm hustling, and someone said to me, "You don't want to say that in a corporate environment."
Yeah.
So, bringing me to that word, was there any part in your life where you had to hustle really deep in business? Is there any part in your life where you felt like I was hustling the right way or I was hustling the wrong way? But regardless, it was leading me to my end goal. My end goal is to becoming free. Because one thing in life, whatever we do, it's all about freedom. For me, freedom is very important because I know what it is not to be free. Because once upon a time, I was driving between 100 hours to 150 hours a week as an Uber driver.
Yeah.
I wasn't free.
Yeah.
I wasn't. So for me, I was hustling my driving job.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I had to do what I had to do. So for you, is there any time in your lifetime where you feel like I'm hustling, I'm not getting results, or I'm hustling, I'm getting results, or I'm hustling a good way or in a bad way?
Yep. I think I've always been a grafter, hustler since football days. That's especially getting a scholarship to go play in America. We used to wake up 4 a.m. to train, and then we'll rest. We'll train again at 12 p.m. We'll rest. We'll train again at 6. So that motivation to get up and get things done. I think a big period in my life, which I didn't know was going to be a big period because it kind of came back to me, was when I was in that 3 to 4 year period, my first 3 to 4 years in entrepreneurship. There was a point where I gave up. I actually gave up at one point. It was a period where I couldn't find a job, right? and the business I was in entrepreneurship, it was paying me like $300 a month, and I couldn't live off that. And I was just like, this is long, right? This is long. And I found myself, it was like a year, like a period of about a year where I started going the wrong way. You know, this was probably maybe 5-6 years ago now. And I started looking at people making money the fast way, but in the wrong way.
Yeah.
And, you know, I got, you know, I basically went that direction, and I started making money in illegal ways. And money was coming through quick. And I thought it was, you know, good because I've never, you know, made that sort of money before. But then what I quickly realized after about a year of doing this is that fast money, first of all, is never going to last, right? Everyone I saw either ended up in prison or worse, ended up dead in that sort of environment by making money. And two, what I realized just from studying is the same energy that you put into making money in illegal ways, and the same skill set that it takes is exactly the same skill that it takes to build a corporate business or corporate company. So that's when I made a transition when I found Forex. So when I found Forex, it was just after I gave up in entrepreneurship. I had about a year or even less than a year of like making money in the wrong ways in the wrong crowds. So getting into Forex was like kind of like my get out of jail free card. It was like my second chance, if that makes sense. I was like, you know, I could see people making money that look like me. They're young, they're black, they're from where I'm from. So it made me believe that I could do it as well. Because traditionally, when I first started entrepreneurship, you know, it was just like Asian people winning. It doesn't make sense. I didn't really see people like me winning. So to see people like me winning in the trading game, that gave me motivation. So, you know, I kind of stopped what I was doing. I went full throttle. After 4 months, I started making a full-time income. So then that's when I just went like kind of full with it.
Like go big or go home.
Basically, yeah.
Wow. You mentioned, you know, whilst you were talking just now, and obviously from the reaction, you know, you don't have to say, you know, if you don't want to, but yeah. It looks like your success has come from some serious pain or around the wrong people. Yeah. You know, and if you don't mind, you know, is there anything you want to say around those wrong people, and what lessons did you really learn in life? Because, you know, at some point in our lives, we might have, you know, been in a situation where once upon a time you could have had the wrong conversation with the wrong person, and then it comes back to haunt you. You've been around the wrong person, and it's done some damages. So for you personally as a person, you know, hanging around those wrong people, like you mentioned, and your current life now was a get out for you, and you realized those kind of mistakes. Yeah. What was the biggest lessons that you learned, and how painful was it?
It's crazy because the last 3 to 4 years have just felt like it was a blur, right? It was strange because I got into Forex, and I started doing, I wouldn't say like well, but I was making a full-time income at least, like an average $2,000 a month income, right? So nothing special, but for me at the time, I didn't need a job making that. That was what I was making minimum. So about 9 months in to me, you know, trading, I got arrested for something I'd done like a year prior to that. And it was, you know, one of the things I was involved in. And I remember speaking with my lawyer at the time, and I didn't really know how serious it was because I didn't know how big the situation was at the time. But my lawyer said I could be looking at 5 years if I'm unlucky. And then since then, from that point, it was like, that's always been on my mind, right? So after the point of getting arrested, you know, they done like a big investigation that took like another 9 months. So I was under investigation for 9 months. I got, they charged me, and I got put on trial. The trial went for like another 9 months. So you can imagine that's like a year and a half where I'm building my Forex business, but I've got this at the back of my mind that I could be going away to do time, and I could be doing big time. So that period was the toughest period of my life, because I'm in entrepreneurship where your mindset needs to be solid. You gotta have a vision for what you're doing, and it's not consistent. Like, you gotta be on the money every single day. But I'm having to deal with this, and I'm going to court every day, you know, dealing with this situation. And then, long story short, 2020, just before COVID, February, it was actually Valentine's Day. We had a court date for our conviction date, and then I got guilty, and they sent me to prison. So this was crazy, because I already had built up a reputation in the community as a trader, as a networker, and nobody really knew my past. Doesn't make sense, because as soon as I started trading, it was like, that's what I was known for. So nobody knew I had a case. Nobody knew I was going to court. Nobody knew anything. So it's like, one day Bells is here, the next day he's gone. So that period was difficult, because I was thinking, what are people going to think? I've built up this reputation as an entrepreneur. I'm doing well in the community. I'm young. I'm grinding. I'm trying to make it happen. And the next thing you know, I'm in prison. So it doesn't make sense. It wasn't meant to be part of the story. But one thing I kept telling myself was a quote from a book that I read, Think and Go Rich, is every adversity brings with it the seed of an equivalent or even greater benefit. So I was just thinking, you know, what could be the benefit of me going to prison? And the first benefit was I had a lot of time to think and restructure myself, you know, really meditate on what I want from life. And two, it was a chance for me to use this as a story. So that's why I said, when I come out, I'm not gonna shy away from it. I'm not gonna hide from it. I'm gonna speak about it, because I knew this day was gonna happen where, you know, I would be interviewed on how I went from prison to becoming a 6-7 figure earner. So that was always part of the vision, and that was one of the benefits, you know, using it as a story, that if I could do it coming from that place, then anyone could do it.
You know, this is quite a very interesting story, because I remember I saw something on your social media, was a couple of weeks back, and you said, I'm releasing a video tonight. I'm telling you guys what I went through in 2000. Yeah. And I remember meeting you for the very first time in a business conference in Birmingham. And you know, you seem like a very easygoing person. And when you posted that on social media a couple of weeks ago, I'm like, what? Did that really happen?
Yeah, I was literally going through that case when you met me, but you wouldn't be able to tell. You know, you'll never be able to tell.
Let's talk about the mindset, because this is something that breaks anyone.
Yeah.
You know, it breaks you whether you're guilty or you're not guilty. It breaks you. And it's only not going to break someone who is a non-repentant criminal. If it was a mistake that was genuinely made by yourself because of some bad decisions around you, you've obviously learned through that process now. So how did you manage your mindset? How did you keep your sanity? And because this is quite something massive, whereby you've grown such a massive reputation and a business in the Forex industry, and all of a sudden you get in the wrong crowd with the wrong people, then you get sent to prison. How did you manage to keep your head above the water once you came out, and now very quickly built a 7-figure business?
Yeah, it was difficult. I did put a lot of pressure on myself to make the story, but I'll be honest, coming out, the work I was doing coming out of my mindset at that time, it was much easier than before I went in. The hardest time for me was before I went in, because as a leader, you have to have a vision for whatever you're doing, your organization, whatever you're building. And to not know if you're going to be in prison 6 months from now or a year from now, it's hard to have a vision for the next 5-10 years, because you don't know what your life's looking like. So I found myself in limbo for like 2 years, if that makes sense. From the time I got arrested to the day I went in, it was like a 1.5-year period. I found myself in limbo. That was the most difficult time. And the only thing that kept me going was I said, worst case scenario, if I do go to prison, I want to have built something big enough that whilst I'm in prison, my family can still be, you know, my mum's bills can still be paid, the rent can still be paid. Because as an entrepreneur, you can make residual income. So that was basically my motivation let me put in as much work now. So worst case scenario, if I do have to go away for a few years, I've built something that my family can still benefit from.
Yeah. And that's how you dealt with it.
That's how I dealt with it. It was difficult though, I won't lie. And I think that was one of the biggest reasons why I wasn't getting past a certain level. Because as soon as I came out of jail, it's like every 3 months is a big level up. So it was like shackles off, weight off my shoulders, nothing to worry about, and I just went vroom. Like I came out, I was in debt, I was broke. Because whilst I was inside, I wasn't making no money, and bills were piling up. So I got into debt. I went from coming out broke in debt, 6 months later, became a 6-figure earner in the same industry. So I think I had a big mindset block. Even though I dealt with it, it was still blocking me from getting past the next level. And so when I did come out and I didn't have anything to worry about holding me back, it's like I was able to just, flourish.
What was the reason why you came out to tell people that this has happened in your life? Once upon a time, you was in the wrong crowd.
Yeah.
And then you made bad decisions, and those bad decisions led you to having, being sent to prison. How? It must have been really difficult.
I was in two minds, I'll be honest. Because to be honest, I didn't think I was going to go to prison. I had a very good lawyer. When we went through the references, my part to play was very minor. It's not like I wasn't doing good things in the community.
Because you had a good job.
Yeah, so I had a job, and I was trading in the community. I was doing something positive. So I didn't really think I was gonna go in. But when I did get sentenced, that's when I had to think, okay, are you gonna hide from it or lie about it, or are you gonna be open? And the thing that really made me make my decision is I remember a lot of the things that I got inspired by was watching people that were like me, that came from rubbish situations, came from the gutter really, and it made it happen. And I remember watching these people on social media, and that inspired me. But I wouldn't have known that if they wasn't open about their story. So I said, you know what? I know if I'm open about my story, someone will get inspired by it to say if he can go from, where he was in that bad place, and they can watch his story. And I made sure I documented it. So when I came out, I was posting the hard times. I posted everything. Every day I was posting me grinding. I was posting everything I'm doing, so that if you track back on my Instagram, you can see the journey clearly. So that was one of the reasons why I chose to be open about it.
So you took your pain and you made your pain a success.
Basically, yeah. It's like that experience being in prison was the motivator. Was I can't go back there. That can never happen again. Like I was able to see what happens when you go down that route. Because remember, I'm seeing people that are doing life. I'm seeing people, 40-year-old men that are speaking like 18-year-olds because they're in that environment. They don't know anything else. And I just see being in that environment, it's just a waste of time. So I just knew that, okay, I need to focus while I'm here, keep my head straight, meditate, read. As soon as I come out, I need to execute. So this was my mindset.
Wow. I'm just like, wow. That's all I can say right now.
It's crazy.
So let's quickly now come into the excitement.
Yeah.
So now you basically, found yourself being an entrepreneur. You thought life was good.
Mm-hmm.
You was in the recruitment industry, and all of a sudden you've gone into, having the wrong crowd, the wrong people, being sent to prison.
Mm-hmm.
And now you came out of prison, and all of a sudden you are, doing well in the same industry that you got started in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did your industry reject you at any point in time? Did you have any sort of stereotypical attitude towards you? Being open about what you've been through could have actually stopped you in your industry.
Yeah, to be honest, it was the opposite. When I came out, like, there was literally like 30 people outside of prison that were in. They threw me a party. It was all over socials, and everyone just wanted to, like, it's like people just got inspired by the journey, and they appreciated my honesty. that I was open about it. So it done the opposite. What it did was it just made people want to know who is this person? How can you come out of prison and you're so active? Because I came out the same day, I went straight to my laptop and I started grinding. Like after that party that they threw me, the next day I was on my laptop and I was grinding, and I was posting it, so everyone was seeing, like, I'm not joking. I told everyone what my goals were. So I'm gonna be a 6-figure earner next year, and I was grinding every day. So people were like intrigued to see who is this guy? How can you just come out of prison and you're just on it? So it done the opposite. I think it done the opposite, to be honest.
Wow. That's the thing about life, right? It's not how many times a man falls, it's how many times you're able to rise up and fight. And there's something I learned from my dad. He says, fall 7 times, rise up the 8th time.
Yeah.
For the 8th time, rise up the 8th time, and the 9th time, and the 10th time, and the 11th time.
Yeah.
Basically, the only way you will never succeed in life is to be a quitter. Mm-hmm. And I remember I interviewed John Mallett. John Mallett is an American multi-billionaire within the business space as well. He's also got a journey where he has started his business. Before that, he went into jail. Okay. And when he was an accountant in jail, he realized all the flaws, being in the wrong place. Mm-hmm. And today, he is a multi-billionaire in the US.
Crazy.
And he runs he's got a network marketing business with health. Okay. And he's also a real estate investor, and he's done so well. Okay. And it just goes to show that, it's not a good experience to have. Uh-huh. And, being someone who's been to prison, as long as you don't become a career criminal, and do it over and over again. Actually, you can change and become a better person, and he was an example of that. So I just thought I'd quickly share that very, very quickly. Okay. So now, within your industry now, how quickly did you just make that transition and your business became a success? I don't understand how it works.
Yeah, I'll break it down.
I'm kind of trying to understand my industry.
Yeah, I'll break it down.
So because you don't just become a 6-figure earner in any business in 8 months, in 5 months, in 3 months. Yeah. Well, you've done pretty well since you came out. Over the last 1 year. Yeah. So
my first 6 figures came through network marketing in the trading space, right? So I was with a academy who had like an affiliate networking program where you get paid the residuals for bringing on clients to learn how to trade, and I was, of course, a trader myself as well. So that's where I made my first 6 figures. But then I just started thinking bigger. One of my coaches over the last 8 years, one thing that he said that always stuck with me is the one piece of advice that he said he will give himself if he was starting out is think much bigger, much sooner. So instead of now thinking as a typical networker, I wanted to think as a businessman. Instead of just being an affiliate of a company, I wanted to run my own company. Does it make sense? So this is where we had a team name, Mastermind Investment Group, but I wanted to make it a brand. I wanted to be bigger than just Forex. I wanted it to be like a space where we're creating massive wealth. So I set myself a goal. I said in 2022, so this was last year around October, November times, I set myself a goal. I said I want to help 100 people become 6-figure earners. And I said I want to help 10 people become millionaires. And I was the only 6-figure earner in my group, in my network, and I wasn't a millionaire. There was no millionaires, no 6-figure earners. But I was thinking much bigger, much sooner. So I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I kept on affirming it. And then ideas kept coming to my head, and that's when I started looking more into the crypto space. It was more about a year ago I really started looking into it. So now my main thing, what I do now, because I don't really trade Forex anymore. The main thing I do now is I'll go to companies that would invest your money for you into the crypto space. Yeah. It could be yield farming, it could be mining, it could be different things. Because when people get into crypto, all they want to do is buy coins, and they're basically gambling. Yeah. Right? So I always tell people, if you're new to crypto, the best thing I would do is find a company that would invest your money for you, so you can actually get returns and you can use those returns to like continue investments. So I would go to companies, I would vet them, me and my team would do research, we would invest, we'll see returns, and I'd also build a network of investors, and obviously we get paid a little commission. So there's about 10 different companies that I have partnerships with now, and I've, in the last 6 months, I've raised over 10 million in investments for these projects.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how do you raise 10 million to invest into projects? How does that come about?
It will be long to explain on a podcast, but I think the key things is, number one, I think is belief. I always learn from number one to belief. Number two is leadership, because you can't do it by yourself. You need a team. And number three is trust. You have to have trust in the community. And I think the best way to bring trust is your people need to know that you have their best interest at heart.
Yeah.
Because things aren't going to always work out.
No.
There's some projects that went left. Some projects didn't do it as well. But as long as your people following you know that their leader has their best interest at heart, they're going to trust you. So those are the 3 big tips. I had a big vision. I worked a lot on leadership, and I built trust within the community.
I say this all the time. Life is all about trust, isn't it?
Yeah.
Life is all about trust. If you can't be trusted, you can't literally. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
You have to be trusted. If you're not trusted, it can't happen.
Yeah.
So, in your journey, what has trust really done for you?
It's allowed people to believe in my vision is the biggest thing. Because as a leader, you see things that are not there yet.
Yeah.
That's what a vision is. It's like you see into the future, but it's in your mind, and you have to bring it into reality.
Yeah.
So when you're speaking to your community, it's like you're telling them about something that's not there yet. So they have to believe in something that they can't see, which takes a lot of trust. They got to trust that you can execute and you're able to do it.
Yeah.
But over the years, I've proved to my community that I could do it over and over again. So I think this is why the last 6 months just went very, very quick.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love how you kind of articulate things from point 1 to point 2. I really love that. So now let's talk about 6-figure earner. You've been talking about six figures.
Yeah.
What does 6-figure look like in terms of earnings?
It means you're making over 100K a year.
A year?
Yeah.
Or a month?
No, you're a 7-figure earner if you're making 100K a month.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're a 6-figure earner, you're making 100K a year.
Okay.
You're a 7-figure earner, obviously you're making minimum $1 million a year, which is about 84,000 a month. So the goal was to create 100 6-figure earners and 10 millionaires, so 10 people, or 10 7-figure earners who are making over $1 million a year.
So when you say the goal is to make 6-figure earners and also make couple of millions, are you a millionaire yet?
I wouldn't say I'm a millionaire,
Okay.
right? Because I haven't made $1 million, but my current income exceeds over 84,000 a month. So I would 7-figure earner would be how you'd say it. If that continues for the year, that's over $1 million. So this would be my first year making $1 million. So by the end of the year, I would be a millionaire. So I would have made $1 million. Yeah.
Great. I mean, this is the thing about I love numbers, and I love to talk about numbers openly because it's my life. Numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie. I'm a numbers guy. That's why we get along.
So it's pretty simple because not a lot of people have the confidence to kind of tell people this is what I make.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't say for so many reasons.
I think it's important in entrepreneurship though. Like if you're especially in an investment space, if you're trying to tell people that they can make a certain amount, the first thing that you should be able to do is let them know what you're making. Otherwise, it's cap, as we call it.
Yeah, because it's a secret, isn't it? It becomes a secret. When there's too much secrets, then
the first thing I want to know, if I'm going to do business with someone, the first thing I want to know, it's not the most important thing, but like we're in business to make money. So I need to know what the financial side looks like first.
Yeah.
Then I need to know, is this person a leader?
Yeah.
Do they have a heart for people?
Yeah.
Can I learn from them? But the bottom line is, I need to know there's money being made first.
Absolutely. Because without that, it's not going to work. If without that plain understanding of the numbers, the structure, the leadership, the heart, you're just going to be like another, a non, serious individual. For example, a swindler. Like a Tinder swindler.
I see a lot of it in this industry. I've been in this industry for 8 years, and that's why I've just decided to be very like direct and upfront and open, because I know how it feels to be on the other side where you're not sure if someone's actually making money or they're not being open with it. Yeah. So I'm open.
I really listen, Mr. Bells. I really love your transparency, your honesty, and this is what the Wealth from Business podcast is all about. Every single guest that I bring on this show, we talk from the point of openness. We appreciate the fact that not everyone is willing to kind of deep dive. So
it makes you vulnerable, innit?
Yeah, it makes you vulnerable. But at the end of the day, no one is. I have this mentality of no one is perfect.
Yeah.
If the world needs to know, they'll know. I mean, if the world needs to know, then you gotta say. But if they don't need to, they don't need to know.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I really appreciate your honesty, man.
Yeah.
So now, why have you been looking into asset-based investment?
Yeah.
Hence, you're already doing so well. Mm-hmm. In the crypto industry, you're doing so well as an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Why the asset, based, sort of investment? Why are you looking into it? It was something I always knew I wanted to get into. Yeah.
When I was in prison, I created a game plan. I created a 5-year game plan. When I came out, the first goal in 2020 was to just get on my feet. The goal in 2021 was to become a 6-figure earner. The goal in 2022 was to become a 7-figure earner. And the goal in 2023 was to start owning assets. I learned this from my mentor. The game plan he gave us was, in the network marketing industry, you want to make a lot of money, right? Then you want to invest that money into digital assets, i.e. crypto. Crypto's high risk, high reward. But then you want to take that money that you made from the crypto space, digital assets, and invest it into hard assets, which is real estate, because it's more stable. The property game is very, very stable. Even though it's slower in terms of returns, it's more stable. So that was always the game plan. So all the money I'm making this year, I want to invest it into hard assets. Yeah. So I've been looking for a lot of people in the property space. It was Samuel Leeds. I was going to do his course, but it just wasn't the right time, and I didn't have the capital as well. So I just wanted to focus until I've gotten to a certain stage. And of course, I was following for a while, and I hit you up a few times on Instagram because I saw what you was doing. I knew you was consistent. The biggest thing I saw is that you genuinely love what you do in the property game, and you love helping people. Yeah. So I knew that some way, if I can find a way to add value to you, then you can also add value to me and my network as well.
Absolutely. It's all about value exchange, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Collaboration is the new currency.
Yeah, of course.
You're someone that's very driven with wealth creation strategy. Yeah. Because I remember we had a conversation and you said to me, one of the things I really want to do now is create that funnel of wealth creation. Yeah. Whereby instead of people wasting, on liabilities, actually creating assets. Yeah. So the asset can actually help them live the kind of lifestyle that they want to live. Yeah. So I know your mindset is being very straightforward on entrepreneurship, business, right from, you mentioned the age of 19, 20 years of age. Was there any books that actually started motivating you towards, you really, really thinking about success, wealth creation, that helps you as a person, apart from Think and Grow Rich? Okay. I know you've spoken about a couple of times.
Yeah. It's funny because I never used to be a reader. I started reading, I've been reading for years, but I started reading very frequently when I went to prison. I read 24 books in the 7 months that I was inside, and I read some of them over and over again. And the more I read, the more I realized what I don't know. And I read a lot of books on finances. The good ones were Rich Dad Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, Why the Rich Are Getting Richer. Those 3 books blew my mind. And from reading those books, I knew I needed to be within the real estate game. But I knew it was going to take time because I needed to make money in my industry first and then, kind of diversify. So those 3 books, were big books. Robert Kiyosaki, I love the way he thinks. Yeah, I love the way he thinks. So those books taught me a lot. And then I started realizing in our community as well, like where I grew up, we don't get taught these things. We don't get taught about tax, about life insurance, about owning assets. So I wanted to be the person that could find a way to bring this into my community. Because it's not just about making money. If you don't know what to do with it, you're gonna lose it. So, I teach my network. It's about, we brag about how much we can save now, not who buys a nice car or who's got this watch or who's got that. How much you save and how much did you invest this week? That's in our community, in our inner circle. That's the language, that's what we speak. So I'm promoting saving, investing, making sure you got insurance, life insurance, making sure you got, your taxes all sorted. All of these things that we don't really get taught in our community.
Absolutely. So now, my man Bells, what is the next 12 months for you in the crypto world and the real estate world?
Well, we're still working. We have about, in a community, between 15 to 20 six-figure earners now. Because this is brand new, they haven't made six figures, but what they're currently making each day, week or month, it would accumulate to six figures as long as they carry on making that, if that makes sense.
That's projectively.
Exactly. So obviously by the end of the year, we would see the numbers. So the goal still stands is 100 six-figure earners, 10 seven-figure earners this year. And then all the money we make this year is about now diversifying that into real estate. And real estate is just one, but there's other ideas we have. There's loads of things. People in the inner circle have different goals. So it's about using this wealth, this network, this knowledge, this community to go and build wherever it is people want to build. But the next step after crypto is going to be real estate.
Wow. What's your game plan?
My game plan?
You had a game plan for the crypto investment company. Now, what's your game plan for real estate?
For real estate, so for me, first things first, the three things that I believe you need in any industry. Number one, you need to have a desire to want something. You got to know what you want, right? So I already have a vision in my head for what I want. Number two, you need a vehicle that can get you there, either a platform, somewhere where there's structure in place. And then number three, you need a mentor.
Absolutely.
So this is why I was seeking you out. When you wasn't responding, so I knew you're busy, I said, let me go buy this guy's book. So I bought your book and I started reading. Then I tagged you to just get your attention. So I'm like, look, I want to work with you. Like, I'm hungry. I'm studying. So I've almost finished reading your book. And then when we connected, I didn't really say too much. I wanted to learn. So I'm asking you questions about the industry because I'm a student. So I don't know anything about real estate. I'm gonna sit here and be like, I know, but I didn't know anything about the crypto space. And I used the same approach. I was a student, and of course along the way, you'll figure it out. Richard Branson said, if someone offers you a great opportunity and you don't know how you're gonna do it, you start anyway, you learn along the way. So this is gonna be the same thing.
Which is the most important thing they say is say yes.
Say yes, yeah.
And then figure the rest out later.
Yeah.
Bells, it's been amazing having you on the Wealth and Business podcast. This individual, I met with him, I've spoken to him a couple of times. You're just genuinely honest, and I appreciate your honesty. You're very simple. The sky's the limit for you.
100%.
And with people in the property space at the moment, do you think they should be doing crypto on the side to raise more cash for investment?
100%.
And how would that look like for them as well?
100%. Your crypto game, you can make a lot of money very fast, but it is high risk. This is why I look at the crypto space as an industry to be able to generate fast money, income, and then it's about what you do with that money now. Go and invest into other things. So for people in the real estate game and you want to raise capital, investing first into crypto is a good idea. But of course, you just need to know, you need to have the vehicle and the mentor. Because if you just go in there blindly, you're going to lose money. There's no strategy, there's nothing. So you need people that are making money, have a system, that are able to mentor you and set yourself a goal from there. And it's a good space to accumulate wealth.
So do you currently offer mentorship on crypto?
I do. It is getting to a space where I'm now mentoring my inner circle leaders to become mentors. Yeah, because there's about a solid 10 individuals that I mentor, and through them I mentor thousands. Yeah. So we do offer mentorship for sure.
Is it paid or is it through the system?
It's the way we've designed it. It's actually free, right? It's actually free. But we have a system in place, for somebody who wants to start generating a certain amount. Like one of our game plans is someone that has $2,500 to start with as an investment, within 3 months can turn that into a 10K a month income, through our investment strategy within the crypto space. So, as long as somebody's coachable, they're willing to listen, they're willing to learn, they're willing to, put in the work to study and understand the industry. We have systems in place for anyone to win. Even my mum is involved in the crypto space now.
Wow.
Yeah, she's loving it.
Making money?
She's making money. Because remember, the way we've designed it, you don't need experience. We have companies that invest your money for you, right? So it's like we're raising funds for companies. They have the experience. Of course, we have to vet these companies. Some projects work really well. Some projects do medium. Some projects don't work so well. And this is why we diversify it. So we have about 10 projects. We had about 13. 2 didn't do well, but we have like a solid 10 that are, doing very, very well.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Man, it's been an amazing pleasure having you on the Wealth and Business Podcast.
Appreciate
I can't
it.
wait to bring you back.
Yep.
Because I just love your wealth of knowledge, which obviously this was to introduce you, to our podcast, to our community as well.
Mm-hmm.
So for anyone that wants to reach out to you, that resonate with your story and they feel like they want to know a little bit about how they can probably invest $2,500, then make 10 grand, then make 20 and make 30, and eventually take out the initial capital so they can now invest in real estate. How can they reach out to you?
Best place is my Instagram is Premium Bells. I'm pretty good on Instagram and replying. My YouTube, where I post a lot of the current projects that I'm in, is also Premium Bells, and those are probably the best 2 places to either follow the journey or to reach out to me.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much, my brother.
Appreciate it, man.
Coming to the show.
Appreciate you having me on.
Appreciate you taking time coming, man.
Bro.
Appreciate it. So guys, you heard from Mr. Premium Bells, amazing individual, very honest and very open. I just want to really, really, really encourage anyone who's heard this story and want to get to know him more to reach out to him. And also, we are looking forward to our first and very own virtual award, property and business wealth awards events coming up as well. So make sure that you get yourself registered once it's going to be announced, which will be announced in the month of June. Literally next month, we're going to be announcing the dates. We're going to be announcing the time. It's all going to be virtual. We will be announcing all of that. So make sure you stick out for the information. And we're looking forward to seeing all of you listening to this podcast anywhere and across the world. We're looking forward to seeing you soon on the next episode. Take care. And it's Daniel Moses. Stay blessed and God bless.